Hello folks, so welcome to my review of One Piece chapter 1078, and what I can honestly say thus far is probably my favourite chapter of the year thus far, and I'll go over as to why that is by the end. But let's get right into it with the cover page. The theme of the chapter is progression, and we've got some progression. Hopefully we get a finale to this, with the German 66 cover story, with Caesar and Judge making up after realising the common bond between the hatred and Vegapunk. I don't know what this is going to lead into, a mad reunion of the former mad scientist group. Now, we saw Dufeld not too long ago with a ship with Mads on it, so I don't know if they're going to bump into him, but Judge and Caesar Clan seem to be making up real quick. We got HG in the background, they got Ranger on the other side, just like sighing, because there has to be something that comes out of this. Maybe they run into Sanji again, I don't know. Otherwise, why did Oda spend all this time hyping up this cover story? And then escaping Hockey Island, that should have been enough. So hopefully this will be it. We start off with the chapter with Stussy, communication with Zephyr Zentomaru, or clone Zentomaru. Also, I find it very interesting that Jinbei was there, which I'll go over in a minute. But basically, Stussy giving Zentomaru the lowdown of the plan of invading Egghead Island with the Marines coming in with a fleet of ships. So Stussy says, for one, the Doctor not only continued the Scholars Forbidden research, so obviously the research of O'Hara was continued on through Vegapunk, because obviously we got that revealed in chapter 1066 with his connection. So, second, unlike O'Hara, Egghead actually has a formidable combat defense. I like this because Zentomaru's basically being told, hey, you better keep your eyes out because the Navy's on their way. They're going to try to repeat history with similar to what they did with O'Hara. So they make the smart decision to get all the residents that are on Egghead Island away and evacuate. Things really escalate and go down even worse than O'Hara because it's been described that way for chapters on end now. And we even got a tease about what's to come in this chapter as well. But we go over to the lab where Zephyr and Boa Hancock, and I said this in the last review, I expected Frankie to still be mobile because obviously it cut away and we just saw Usopp in love. I still have a problem with that, with Usopp being bitched out with the way he is, because he's capable of so much more. Zephyr Boa Hancock, or Zephyr Snake in codename, notices Pythagoras, the head of Pythagoras, who survived one explosion, I guess could not survive this. So Zephyr Boa Hancock pulls a perfect cell and crushes it. It looked like he crushed his head, but if you look, so Frankie's freaking out because don't do that. There's an explosion appears, and if you look at the way, so Zephyr Boa Hancock, or Zephyr Snake, however you want to pronounce it as, the way she's positioned, it looks like the explosion is coming from behind her because you can see the wings on the opposite side of the way she's facing. So that explosion is coming from the opposite direction, and if you look at the way where Pythagoras was standing, it was right in front of her. So obviously that explosion is coming from behind. So I don't know who that is or what that is. It could be Frankie. It immediately cuts again after an explosion, which caused all this. It cuts to an explosion, and then we go to the second floor, which this might actually be one of my favorite parts of the entire chapter. So we see Robin, Chopper, and Atlas, and they're going over about first off, this scene just highlights why Robin is the smartest member of the Straw Hat crew, because for two reasons. Number one, she's already figured out, because of Nami screaming, that Sanji there's somebody on the crew that will go to her defense no matter what. So obviously talking about Sanji, so I like how Robin's intuitive about that. But more importantly, Robin goes over, because there's fights going on all over the place and everyone's been pinned down, this may actually be a distraction to lure everybody away from the fact that Vegapunk's the actual target and maybe the one in danger. So it's a distraction, and I like Robin figures that out. So it looks like they're going to go to where Vegapunk is, because I'm guessing Atlas brings up, that reminds me, there's a room that's sealed off for now. So where else could they go but except the place that Vegapunk has been captive with these Assailant that we finally get revealed. We go to the third floor where Nami is actually getting upset over Edison. I like this because at the beginning, Nami was actually gleaming over the thought of taking the treasure of Stella, or in this case, Vegapunk. But now she's concerned about Edison, so I like that. But also, Brock is in soul form because his body's on the floor and we see his soul. So Brooks also going out to scout for Vegapunk, so he could also run into the Assailant as well. So I like there's many possibilities with this chapter. But here's the thing, so Zephyr Jinbei versus Sanji is interesting in its own way, but Sanji doesn't really fight back, he just tanks Zephyr Jinbei's attack and gives off, oh, don't be surprised, it's the power of love. We go over to the other two members of the Monster Trio with Luffy and Zoro, and this is where Robin's words about this being a distraction may play a role, because this whole sequence with them attacking Kuma, they completely lose sight of Zephyr and Mihawk, who's already dipped, he's gone. So I don't know where he's gone to. He may go to intercept either Robin and Atlas and Chopper, or maybe even Stussy and Jinbei, because they could be heading that direction too. Brook in soul form is heading that way too, but I don't know if Zephyr and Mihawk, unless he has observation arc, he's able to detect that. So that's going to be very interesting. Doesn't matter because Zoro gives chase and actually goes after him, and also Kaku goes with him, because Luffy, well, first off, Luffy calls him Usopp, which is hilarious because obviously it's a callback to Water 7. So we're going to get two individual team-ups with a member of CP0 teaming up with a member of the Straw Hats. In this case, Kaku's going off to team up with Zoro to take on Zephyr and Mihawk, or I kind of want to see that one-on-one, but I think eventually we're going to get that rematch anyway. I think this is foreshadowing for that. Then we got the individual team-up of Luffy and Rob Lucci against Zephyr and Kuma, which I'm sure is done by design, because obviously Luffy has a connection with Barney, so that's not done by accident. But then Lucci's kind of coaching Luffy not to use your head a little bit, because that's not going to work. And speaking of Barney, the very next scene is we Oda hyping up this event that's going to take place tomorrow at the conclusion of Vega Island, I'm assuming, with Vegapunk's escape, or at least the interception of Vegapunk's escape. We don't know how things are going to play out, but Oda's hyping you up for that. So, but in the meantime, you see panels of where Barney's sitting alone, crying outside the memory bubble that she was looking into the last time we saw her, and she's just crying. There's no dialogue, which I get into. That's a key factor. But then it cuts to Mary Jose. So this took place 3 months prior to what's going on right now with Egghead Island. So they already have suspicions that Vegapunk was researching the Void Century. Obviously, that's a no-no with the world government. So we get the other groups that got captured. They didn't get. Now I find it very interesting. They got captured but didn't get killed, along with Vegapunk. So we get the groups of Cypher Pole that disappeared without a trace, that were obviously detained, which Vegapunk did not know. We get the explanation for that. So they arrived asking questions. The government ships never returned, and as a result, made the decision to eliminate Vegapunk, with CP0 leading the charge. That was the mission. We know that because Rob Lucci sent himself. But this is the key part of the sequence. The Five Elders, the Gorosei, kind of figured that Vegapunk would have some resistance. So number one, they already had Kizaru leading the charge, heading their way, just in case, that cut off. But they didn't count on is the Straw Hats running into Vegapunk, and Vegapunk asking for their help now that Luffy's a Yonko. So that's why Saturn, one of the members of the Gorosei. Now I kind of question why other members aren't there, but I guess Sam is the one that probably has the connection with Vegapunk, I'm assuming, because the last time we saw him, he said it was regrettable it's come to this. But we see panels of the members of the Navy. I think we even see Doll there, which she's also a member of the established Sword organization, I should point out. So I don't know where that's going to lead. Also, is that X-Drake, by the way? Or is that somebody else with that? It's been a while since we've seen Sword, the new members of Sword. So it looks kind of, especially with the eye mask, kind of looks like X-Drake. We know Kizaru and Saturn are coming. We know the 100 warships are coming in their way. Sword's also a part of this, so I'm glad that Oda tied that up. But then this is where the unexpected incident of the Emperor, the Straw Hat Pirates, led by Luffy, are on their way. We see Akainu, and then a member of the Gorosei who is not there, with the long mustache, he gets triggered by this. They're going to have something else up their sleeve, I'm assuming. But then Oda's caps this off by hyping up this chain of events to take place tomorrow, and the outcome will shock the world. So there you go, Oda hyping you up for this inevitable war that's about to take place that's going to shake up the world, One Piece world. If what we had wasn't enough with Teach versus Law, now we got this. Which, by the way, we still need to find out what's going on with that. We finally get the reveal of who the assailant is after Shaka got shot in the head. I don't know, Shaka's down for the count for good. But we get the reveal who it was who shot Shaka in the first place, and it's none other than York, a member of the Vegapunk 6. Now, and go figure, is one of the Vegapunk 6 that actually turned out to be the laziest, actually was the assailant all along. Go figure, right? Vegapunk kind of like asks York, well, why are you doing this? Like, first, York responds, it's because I want to be a celestial dragon. And then Vegapunk says something that's going to be foreshadowing, because I think we're going to get his backstory. And it may even tie into what happens with why he couldn't tell Barney about Kuma's secret. He's like, you know what it's like on Mura Jose, you just know how vile they are. They've already visited them, but I was under the assumption that Vegapunk split away after this, and Vegapunk 6 still a thing when Vegapunk was affiliated with the Gorosei back in Mura Jose. And that could be it, because each member of the Vegapunk 6 make up each different personality traits of the original. Maybe she resembles Greed, and she's kind of like mocking Shaka. She's like, you sound like Shaka. Well, he's not much anymore because he's dead, which I feel like he's not. It's hard to keep track of all of us Vegapunks, right? So this was an inside job, obviously, and that's how the chapter ends with York saying, honestly, the world really doesn't need more than one of us. So she wants to be the original Vegapunk. So she wants to be her own without the original leading the charge. So this may, in fact, tie into what Robin said a couple of chapters ago with when she mentioned she saw Vegapunk, but she's like, oh no, it's just an organ. She goes over organoids. And I mentioned this scene for a reason, because I feel like it was kind of foreshadowing what might be going on here. With that clone, with so many clones going around, it just made the most sense. Now, a member of the Vegapunk 6 being the assailant is not a surprise. What is kind of revealing is that she wants to be a celestial dragon. That we kind of need Vegapunk's backstory for that to make sense. And that also, speaking of which, that scene with Robin talking about organoids, there's also a scene right before that, exchanging dialogue when Atlas is talking to Chopper about being able to change appearances. I also mentioned that as well, because I feel like that could also be what's going on here. So it looks like both of them has a tie-in with the assailant, because it made the most sense, because a member of Vegapunk has authority over the Zephyrium. The only people that threw people off whack is the fact that York was actually turned to stone via Zephyrium Boa Hancock. So was that a clone of York all this time? And because of Robin saying this might end up being a distraction, the main cause of the threat being after Vegapunk, so we may get York versus Robin, which I wouldn't have a problem with, honestly. I also said after chapter 1066, I don't see Robin letting Vegapunk die just because of how much of a connection he has with Elbaf and Monkey D. Dragon, so I can definitely see Robin doing something to defend him. That would make sense. I said that then. Key factor here, like I said, we got other groups of the Straw Hats that could show up too. Brook in his soul form could show up. Stussy and Jinbei, plus Zoro is giving chase to Zephyr Mihawk, which could lead him to where York and Vegapunk are. So yeah, that's a possibility. So even though this chapter may seem simplistic to a lot of people, this chapter easily, in my opinion, is not only my favourite chapter of the year, I think it's the best chapter of the year that we've gotten so far. Because this chapter gives us so much progression after Oda milked this mystery assailant thing. Chapter 1074 is when this all got started with the explosion. It makes the most sense. Like, I think this has been long enough to give us enough hooks and enough intrigue to okay, enough huge bits of information that we needed to get. But the two main things that needed to happen in this chapter is, number one, we needed the reveal of Stella, and number two, we needed to see what happened with Barney in order to get some progression. We got both of those, and we got the mystery assailant, because as York was talking to Vegapunk, it was York that called Vegapunk Stella, which I did say when that was first introduced. I said, could that be an alias for the actual Vegapunk? So it turns out, yeah. We got that, plus the assailant reveal, so I can't ask for much more. But the main point here is the fact we saw Jory Barney, and she was not captured, or she was not shot, which kind of makes me ask the question, okay, So if the name of the game for the Gorosei for York is to be the only Vegapunk out there, why hasn't she killed Vegapunk, or is she just going to torture him until somebody shows up, like the stereotypical villain? Because that makes no sense, because you have the opportunity to kill him, yet you captured him. You did, and it's revealed that you did not attack Bonnie. So that answers my other question. So when Vegapunk was snatched and attacked, because we know attacked because you have bruises and cuts, what happened with Bonnie? Was she left alone because nobody saw her? Looks like that's the case, because otherwise Bonnie would have been attacked too and captured. Which is why I think more than ever, Bonnie is going to be the key to the resolution to this whole thing, to like solve this problem. And I've been saying this for months. It's going to lead her to actually help out Luffy, but more importantly Vegapunk too. The more we don't get anything of her backstory, the more it leads like Bonnie to like ally with Luffy even further, because we kind of need that reveal of what she saw in Kuma's memories. We still haven't got that. In fact, when this whole mystery started, that was the last time we saw Bonnie. And in the same chapter where we got the Assailant revealed, we see Bonnie. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. It was also kind of foreshadowed. I mentioned this in the last review just to remind everybody, but there was a scene where Vegapunk said, "I wish I'd given it to you in the past," when he was having regrets about Kuma and the way that Bonnie ended up, because not being able to tell her the truth. We need it, like I said, we need that kind of revealed, and the longer that Oda holds us out, the harder it's going to be for Bonnie to separate herself from Luffy after this, because we kind of need that reveal. And unless we see Kuma kind of reveal that himself, then she's going to want to stick it to the world government to like honor her father. That's why I feel this is going, and that's why I feel like we didn't get any dialogue from Bonnie, though we did get to see Bonnie, which is good, because the way that Bonnie's been hyped up has been top notch. Honestly, outside of Law, Zoro, and Luffy, Bonnie may end up being in the top 4 when it comes to like Supernova and members of the Worst Generation. That's not saying a whole lot, because there's still members of the Worst Generation we don't know about, but the way that Bonnie's been handled right now, I would go so far. You can put Bonnie in the top 4. She may not be the strongest, doesn't matter. She still has a broken ability if given use. I've been saying this, I said this 4 years ago. I said this after the Reverie, because Bonnie was there, she could end up bumping into the Straw Hats, and to actually lay out what went down at the Reverie. She could still do that because she has no ship, and she kind of and Bonnie kind of teased it at the beginning of the arc, when she said, "Oh, I could give you lowdown on what went down at the Reverie, but I'll keep it to myself for now, and I'll share it with you later." Definitely my favorite chapter of the year, because it's the first chapter where we got some major progression, and there's been a while since we got teasers here and there. And listen, I like a good mystery novel, and chapters the next person. Danganronpa is an underrated gem of mine when it comes to like anime. I wish that I could have been 24 episodes, but that's a whole nother topic. Before Oda has too much to juggle, and he's already teasing Elbaf, for crying out loud. So what more do you need me to say? Like, he's already given us 2 teasers of Elbaf, a possibility of a Shanks Kid fight, which, by the way, now we know this incoming event is going to take place tomorrow. At the conclusion of this arc, we don't know what really is going to go down. It's going to be some mad havoc, I can tell you that. So we don't know, and we don't even know if the Straw Hats are going to be a part of this. We don't know. Oda opened up the door with infinite possibilities when it comes to like his statement. This legendary clash that was going to happen this year. This character's going to face this character. No way. I hope nobody dies. So that was the Jump Festa. Could this battle take place in this event that's going to happen with the Gorosei and possibly Straw Hats, or at least Vegapunk? We don't know. I don't know. That's a possibility. And given the fact it looks like Sword's going to be a part of this, so I don't know what that's going to lead to, but that's going to be very interesting. But the fact that Oda stated it's going to lead to a shocking conclusion. Anything could happen. Oda's already teased Elbaf, so I don't know why that wouldn't be in the cards for the next arc if we weren't going to go there yet. If someone was going to get captured from the Straw Hats, dragged into Marajose, which, by the way, feels like a endgame type arc, if you ask me. Just like do this again later on. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do it now and tease Elbaf here. Who knows how long, if we actually get a rescue arc, involving the Straw Hats, and Oda's already teased Elbaf, so like, no, I don't see any reason why he would do that. So yeah, I definitely like this chapter a lot, and it may lead into what I've been saying this entire time, that Barney's going to be the key to solve this whole thing and be the resolution to this problem. We could also possibly get York versus Robin. I'd be down with that, because of what was teased in this chapter. But this chapter, like I said, may seem very simplistic, but it give us a lot of progression that a lot of chapters this year haven't given us. That's all I can ask for. So that's going to do it for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Like the review if you did, a thumbs up. I appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel for One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. Bye.